Vigilance officer? What can this old carabinier do for you? I prefer the old name, Insulindian Lily. Girls brought them to young cadets when they entered service. Wearing them on your cap was supposed to bring good luck. It used to be. But the communards were fond of them too. Called them revolutionary flowers. Bells of the revolution. You know what? No. They brought me misery, false hope, and disappointment. The revolutionaries sullied them.
You stirred up some bad memories there.
But it wasn't the revolutionaries that sullied the ID for you, was it? She gave them to me too, and your jealous little heart just couldn't accept it.
Enough! I can go over these matters in detail with you, Gaston. But not while we have company. So, officers.
Maybells don't blossom yet, do they?
Maybe on some remote parts of the city they do. But I think you'll have to wait for at least a month. There's nothing for you to understand here. It is not her death you are investigating. I was 22 when I returned from King Guillaume's Akira operation in the south and found my sweetheart in the arms of this wretch.
The Ikeda operation was a 7-year campaign, during which suzerain Guillaume's army forcefully united the people in the southeastern part of La Petite Continent, collectively known as the Ikeda tribes, under the Revacholian banner.
I won her back, but while I was dealing with some issues.
You were like a dark cloud sucking the joy out of every living thing around you. And you hurt her.
Dark cloud. That sounds unpleasantly familiar.
Those days and memories are gone.
The old soldier says nothing, but when his glance quickly runs over Gaston's face, there's an odd look in his eyes.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I head the citizens' militia on this fine day?
There. Do you smell that? Can you not detect that inimitable whiff of dissatisfaction and restlessness, that sense that the world is in need of dramatic, even violent, reordering? Without a doubt, your politico-olfactory cortex doesn't deceive you. The smell is coming from that balcony over there. Certainement, a precocious communist youth, a symbol of a kinder, more hopeful future. Now's your chance to establish contact with your revolutionary brothers and sisters. A chance to establish contact with the future. What a beautiful, terrible thought.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? I don't believe it. I've never known those boys to have manners. They'll never be skulls, but their hearts are in the right place. Fat chance. But you can still do your part to revitalize the neighborhood.
She throws you a conspiratorial glance, then presses her finger to her lips and squints up at the sky, as though straining to hear something in the distance.
Have you noticed the quiet? Every so often, you might hear a gunshot pierce the air somewhere in Jamrock. But in Martinez, no gunshots, no sirens. The people are languishing in boredom and complacency. This place is a sepulchre. We'll paint it red. We bring the raucous. You bring the sirens. And what do you know about politics?
The girl erupts in a cackle that seems like it should belong to a much older woman.
Oh, that's very nice. The little piggy wants to make sausages. Out of what? His little piggy friends?
It was not a concern of mine.
Sure. I know someone who'd love to talk that ideological stuff. You're looking for Steban, a right communist who runs a mega cool and very secret meeting. I might... No.
The lieutenant let slip a sigh that seems to suggest this turn was utterly predictable. A wicked grin extends across her face. A laughing skull. Death hilarious. This is gonna be bad.
Oink for me, piggy. Just once. Wow, that was easier than I expected. It's almost like you've been wanting to do it this whole time.
A cool, damp feeling ripples through you. You realize you needn't have rolled over quite so easily. The lieutenant, needless to say, is not impressed.
Sounds like you're really serious about meeting Steban. It's touching, sort of. Steban's group meets only at night, in an old room in these apartments here. It just so happens you're in luck. Their weekly meeting is tonight. Poke your snout around sometime after 10 p.m. and you might just find them. Just that he's a real communist. Not like the play acting you've been doing. The rest, you'll have to see for yourself. Oh, smart pig. Because they're is. See, Stepan's a bit on the paranoid side. He's got all these mega secret passphrases to keep out infiltrators and the like. You can't join the meeting without one. Why would I? That would be so boring. Now, let's see if you're half as dedicated a communist as you say you are. That's enough. Off with you then.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Give me a moment. What? No. Nobody tells me anything.
Would she understand if they did?
If it ain't my business, I'll keep my nose out of it. Well, I think we'd all be better off if people kept their noses to themselves.
A plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with impressive sideburns. The name on the plinth reads, Kraz Marzov.
Whoever lives here definitely shares your enthusiasm. There aren't many communists around, not after the revolution.
There it is again, that spectral smell haunting this industrial harbor. And it smells like heavy fuel oil mostly, because it's an industrial harbor. Years of turmoil, of hopes and dreams, ground beneath the inexorable tides of capital. Undoubtedly. And the scent is coming from that railing over there. Yes, now's your chance to establish contact. But be easy about it. Communists have been known to charge when startled.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? Yeah, the janitor who gave me the key to his apartment said the guy's a bit of an asshole. Like I said before, I don't know much about this weasel, but the bossman said he's a real piece of work. Thanks for helping out, friend. What's that, Boya?
Now's your chance. Remember, communists are notoriously skittish, so it's best to insinuate your way in. Hold on. This isn't a man who goes in for subterfuge. He prefers someone who'll look him in the eye and say exactly what's on his mind.
Now that is an important subject, but also a sensitive one. Still, good of you to just come straight out with it. No beating around the bush.
Yes, he certainly has a way of just coming out and saying things that normal people wouldn't.
So you've given up copying and now you're hunting comunistas. Care to say why? A fellow plains roamer in search of greater understanding. A classic story. I wish I could help. Unfortunately, I don't know many comunistas. Maybe, maybe not. Either way, I'm not institutional. A man's got to blaze his own trail, in my book.
Blazing his own trail, being his own man. Not exactly your typical communist spiel. Okay, so maybe he's not exactly a communist, but there's definitely some communistic residue about him.
Ah, but you know, I did meet a genuine ideologo a few months ago. Perhaps he's your guy. You know, a guy with a theory. Someone who likes to pit his theory against other theories in deadly theory combat. Didn't say anything about his name. Wasn't this sort of encounter where names matter. It was late one night as I was leaving the arbor. He was waiting on the corner in a bright white jacket. Classic Saramirizian style. He asked me for a light. We shared cigarettes. Then he asked me if I ever thought about getting into some of the extra physical branches of communism.
See, all this political chit-chat is just an excuse to rip tar with strangers. Let's say we just skip right to the good part then.
The same thing I always tell people who try to press some claim on me. I said, every boyadero rides alone. I couldn't tell you. Once I declined his offer, we finished our cigarettes and he disappeared back into the night. Just before he melted into the shadows, he turned to me and said, "Remember Dobrava and Abadanais." And then he was gone. I don't know. Guess not everyone remembers. Been wondering about that myself. Some comunista inside talk with me. Not meant for the wider public. They love that kind of thing. You'd have to ask someone who knows the ideologo personally.
Not to interfere in your personal errand, but it might have something to do with that passphrase Cindy mentioned earlier.
The lieutenant nods.
Just in time. The faithful partner arrives with the key that turns the lock. You two make a good pair. I salute you, boyas, and wish you good fortune on this grand ideological quest.
The man whispers a jaunty tune. has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly.
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Titus can be a handful sometimes. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today? No, you didn't. I know the mailman, Harry. I know everyone and everything that happens in this town, and I know there's no letter in that mailbox yet. Just like I know you'll get it done. Once you stop horsing around, let me know when it's done. Yes, the little cul-de-sac on the coast, where all the men have drowned, in either the sea or the bottle. A gloomy place, doesn't have that Union attitude.
You're already pretty deep into this. What's a little more? No one can see you here in Martinez.
By all means, Harry. What's on your mind? Most certainly, Harry. Nothing brightens my day like brainstorming these things with you. Of course, it just blew smoke up my arse. I guess they're not as tough as they say they are. Well, there's more to this than meets the eye. I'm not. But I guess you need to talk to this Clasier person now. What a job. Oh, the chick Titus and the boys have been hanging around all winter. She has them wrapped around her finger. They're paying her rent, bringing her stuff. Maybe that's connected too. I'm not some genius judge of character. What happened here is up to you to figure out, Harry. So they shot him.
He was shot in the head before he was hanged.
How odd. I don't know what to say, Lieutenant. They told me they hanged him. A hanged man is what I saw when I took a look into that yard. What I do know is, the case is in safe hands. If anyone can get to the bottom of this shot and hanged man, it's my two little policemen. Godspeed, policeman. By all means, Harry. What's on your mind? Ah, yes. Your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business.
Actually, Revachol doesn't have a mayor. He refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small nuisance to him. You take the legal documents out of the envelope. A 12 to 40 month construction. dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RCM sticker.
Yes, for sending mail.
You drop the white envelope in the darkness. It lands with a soft thud on what sounds like a couple of letters. About a week's worth of mail as collected in there. They'll empty this very soon. Probably did the right thing. You can't trust that slug Everard. You know he's going to play you somehow.
All right, let's go back to Everard. If we don't mention anything to him, he won't know before it's too late.
Mr. Dubois, every worker for himself, right? What can I do for you today? The Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. Of course. I already knew this. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a future and proven to be a true man of the left. I can finally trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun, nothing is off the table.
Judging from how happy he is, it looks like you did it. He doesn't appear to suspect trickery.
Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. An old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry, word on the street is she's a character, so watch out.
This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy, the one he described as terrifying.
Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling your gun like that? Wild. Anyway, the neighbors of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debarders Union. Apparently, she was waving it around at the entrance to her building.
Waving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does.
Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're gonna have to go in blind, Harry. But she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs.
There it is again. The Pigs. Like Roy said, not good at all.
I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig.
It actually sounds extremely bad, but let's not give him the satisfaction.
I already have. Tonight, starting 10 o'clock, near the old fish market on the coast, the one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, back to the fun stuff.
She will be there from 2200 hours till 0200 hours.
More fun stuff. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do.
Order it. You know my men didn't kill him. They told you. It was a happy accident. You know how it is. No one takes the initiative. If I wanted him dead, I would have had to do it myself. And I'm too fat for that. Glad you asked. I've got type 2 diabetes because sugar and fat was all my mother had to give me and my brother Edgar when we were kids. Good job too, as it made me ugly. And ugly people, Harry, are much better at politics. Why, a war, of course.
And what do you have to gain from a war?
Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We are going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1, and that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines.
The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often.
So that's why you haven't let Joyce in?
Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. Tits from her arsehole. It's a local saying.
Actually, no, it's not.
Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. It's already happening. No idea. Could have been his own mother for all I know. If you ever find the guy, give him a big fat kiss from Everard Clare. Couldn't have done it without him.
A guy, huh?
I don't. I told you it could have been his own mother. I'm pretty sure it wasn't anyone from the Union. Maybe it was the mob. Or maybe he killed himself because he was a closet socialist. Truth is, I simply don't know. 2,372. Plus yours truly, of course.
2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization in Revachol.
Harry, by now you should know I would never do anything tricky like that. However, if the construction noise and limited street access makes some people consider moving, well, let's just say there'll be freshly renovated buildings near the roundabout where those poor people can finally enjoy a significant uptick in quality of life. I'm talking real affordable workers' palaces.
He proudly spreads his hands to demonstrate the size of the palaces. They're very large.
So the village is doomed.
You were there, you saw the place, a wasteland, there's nothing left. But mark my words, officers, we are going to reset it. Reset! I have big plans for Martinez, and they do not include humans living in those pig sheds on the coast. That land will be used for municipal buildings and commerce. Harry, imagine a youth centre supermarket church complex, employing hundreds, no, thousands of people. The coast will be lit up with enterprise and life. All those ruins out there turned into low-income housing. Harry, enough is enough. We're taking this district back. The war was 50 years ago, for God's sake. It's time to move on. Yes, I do. I got the centre, I got room for a retail complex, and in 4 years, I'll get the church too. The wheels are already turning, Harry. The wheels of progress. This post-war limbo, I won't stand for it. There are kids practically playing with their own feces out there. It cannot go on.
The pain is true. He's seen kids do worse than that. And then there will be a giant statue of him towering above it all.
I'm not a symbolist, Harry. I'm a realist. My statue will be Martinez rebuilt. 5-story building complexes, kids off speed, and landowners in a zone hating me. That will be my statue. And yours. We're doing this together. Damn right I'm up to something, Harry. I'm gonna make the working man as rich as Joyce Messier. That's my job. Just like yours is to keep the peace.
A true flash of anger in him as he thinks of her.
Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us. Harry, we've thought of everything.
Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day.
Sure, some will go, but mark my words. The company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams.
That's drugs.
Drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samaran Isola. You don't need to be colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities. The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad, has bad optics, may be illegal in some countries. The Debarders Union, however, we're all about the large volume column. We're gonna transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. So your sick kid can get his Benefed, and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperidone.
Benefed is a children's cold medicine, usually apricot flavored, and risperidone is used to treat severe psychosis.
And the kids on the street can get speed and pyrrolidon.
I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share. And I'd keep that stuff far away from Martinez.
He's basically admitting to it.
It's also far removed from my men and the people of Martinez who've put their trust in me. Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is, but a small part of Martinez. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. Young mothers who want to start businesses. Models who want to walk catwalks and steel welders who want to weld steel. I'm going to unite them all into one economic body. We're going to incorporate this place to Kingdom Come. Everyone's going to be in on the wealth, and everyone's going to pull their weight. Harry, the length you're willing to go to keep your nose clean is remarkable. You will always have a warm bed in Mr. Clare's household, my friend, and a special place in the future of Martinez. We're way past specific Union members now. This is the big time. We're talking about the future of Revachol here, Harry. You can bother Leonard with that. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big-time mode, Harry.
There's something different about him now. He's more vibrant, more alive in his big-time mode.
Great, Harry, great. I think we have truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We have united the RCM and the Debarders Union. This has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did, yeah. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. Mr. Evrat doesn't really want me to talk to people about Union guys. But who did you want to talk about? Mr. Edgar is Mr. Evrat's brother. He looks a bit younger, he does. But a very smart fellow. Very smart fellow indeed. He's away on some Union business. Not even in Revachol, they say. All kinds of places he visits. Him and his brother both do when they're on a vacation. Right now, it's Mr. Everett's turn to look after the Union. But last year he spent a whole winter in South Safra. Left with the first autumn rains and didn't come back before the trees were green again.
South Safra. A lot of bulk chemical manufacturing going on there. A lot of cargo shipments being made, too.
He's a Union man through and through. Good guy. He's very calm, laid back, doesn't do much, talks to Everett sometimes. Honestly, I don't know what he does for us, but it must be important because everybody likes him. Yes, they do. I think that's what he does. He makes everyone feel a little better. Whoa, he's really something. He doesn't talk much to me usually, but when he does, I don't really understand most of what he's saying. Actually, I don't think he would like me running my mouth about him like that. Once he said he's a dragon to this mob fellow who came picking a fight with some union men. Heh, I think he really believes Jean-Luc was a dragon because he ran right off. Another time he almost killed another guy, but I shouldn't talk about that. Oh, Titus is a longshoreman through and through. He was born on a boat, they say. His veins are probably filled with salt water, I tell you. Nice friendly sort, old Titus is.
He's probably one of those rare specimens who are born when two drunk seamen stumble on top of each other on the deck amidst a storm so violent it flings whales around.
I'd best not. I mean, I could, but I don't think Mr. Everett would like it very much. You better ask him yourself, mister. The night guard? Ooh, he's a peculiar fellow. He's the strong, silent type, you could say. We talk all the time, but I don't really know much about him. He plays petanque with my old human studies teacher, Mr. Martin, down at the plaza. I think he's the only fellow who actually knows old Renee. They lived on the same street their entire lives, even dated the same girl on and off for as long as I can remember. Strange fellows. Mr. Martin was always real nice to me in school. I remember once. Mr. Martin, yes. Don't really remember much about him. I was just a boy back then. Sure, mister. What can Leo do for you?
You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. Before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened, and, as it's always been, it's impossible to open a container with rhetoric. Maybe you're losing your mind.
promising race pupil returns. And look, babe, the rich man has humiliated and emasculated this couple. He can only think in base materialist categories and feminine abstractions like money.
Rich man really fucked him over, Jean.
His rage is already played out on the stage of history as the grotesque tragedy of revolution. All it can accomplish now is impotent academic text and neurosyphilitic rock and roll melancholia. You could have used this opportunity to overcome your narrow, Al-Ghul-ravaged identity. Instead of unlocking the race enigma, you attempted to add to it unsuccessfully. Take solace from the fact that these thoughts will never entirely leave your brain. They will be with you on the day you die. The only germ of heroism in your body. Now go. I have beauty and truth to discuss with my woman.
Damn, Jean. How are you so romantic?
Was there an out of this for you with success? Or was the rhetoric game rigged? I can't tell.
There is nothing funky about them. There are 3 categories of race. Type A, Type B, and the vile CF race called of pederasty. Which one do you need? I cannot possibly imagine what else we have. The unpromising race pupil.
This window is pristine on the inside.
It's always good to see you. I understand.
Just like that. No resistance. Her shoulders are slouched, her feet long and straight.
I know. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For all of this, for wasting your time.
This is good. Clear the air first, between you two. Then move on to questions. Is it? Something is off here. Shush, I can't hear what she's saying. Let the miss speak. She's tall and thin and tired. A twig trying so hard not to break.
Why did you waste our time then?
Because of the Hardys. I couldn't just dispense with them. They were only trying to help me. Out of the shit I'd gotten into. You're right. There's more. You answer to the coalition government, and by extension, the moral intern.
briefly glancing over her shoulder to the sea, as she's done time and time again. A grand expanse of water reaches over the bay and to the horizon, grey and pale violet in the morning light. The pale, the Muindi Isola, the Occident, and then Oranje, the old, old world.
You share a database with them. You send people to their courts. Just business, but bad business for some people in the moral intern. If I show up in your records, officer, they will find me. They will...
What happens if they do?
They will kill me, sir. If you file my name, take me in for questioning, enter me into the moral intern mill, well, then I'm fucked. For nothing. This murder didn't have anything to do with me.
Fucked? People after her? Moral intern people? This isn't Oranese lit. Actually, this murder did have a little to do with her.
I did. I also had a side job selling insurance that I was really good at. Got picked up by a bank. Competitive intelligence, they called it. After that, I sort of, transitioned out of the whole culture scene. It's not nice, but it's not illegal. Not here in Ravachol, or even in Oranje.
What exactly did you do?
Industrial espionage. I joined a business collective with the intention of betraying them. I did my job well enough to be asked to do it again, with a bigger company. The kind you really, really don't fuck with. I took their ledgers, 2 decades worth of accounting.
I need the names of the companies involved and who hired you.
The job was Louis-Douin County Savings Bank. They sound small, but they're part of the Louis-Scott conglomerate. That was the second job. The first was some printer company. You wouldn't know them. As to who hired me for the job, I don't know. But they're after me too, along with Louis-Scott and their friends in the MI. Once you're done in the competitive intelligence circuit, you don't have allies. You're radioactive.
Lowe's Cap. These people engineer financial disasters in second world countries. The conglomerate also includes the Bank of Consecration, Airberg, and the popular Papalolo line of dairy products.
It is. Many people lost their jobs. Not just C-suite. Ordinary people. What I did to get to accounting, a lot of people got hurt. But that's just more of my shit you shouldn't have to deal with. You're solving a murder. We were there. Together. In bed, I mean. Okay. He was in a kneeling position. He had just entered me. I was on my back, looking at him. I heard the window behind me shatter, and I turned to look. There was a hole in the glass. I turned back to him. His eyes were looking through me, and his mouth was open. Dumb. I could see. I could...
A great pain moves through her, a dark and indefinite wave. She continues in spite of it.
I knew he was dead, before he fell down on top of me. He was heavy. I pushed him off and he fell to the floor. There. He only had his boots on. I bit the pillow, not to scream, then ran downstairs. I waited for the second shot to come. For me. I thought there would be one. It never came.
She's forgotten about her cigarette. The butt has burned right down to her fingernails.
Oh. So am I.
What time was this? When did it happen? It would help us if you could be as precise as possible.
11:30 to 12:15. I don't know the exact time. Around midnight.
It's okay. Were you inebriated?
Not as much as usual. He'd done a line, plus other things. I was drinking.
Wait. Titus said she was gurning her jaw off, much more than usual.
Oh, yeah. I did one of his lines, just to clear my head.
Good thinking. Clear your head. You should clear your head. Get into his mindset.
Did you hear or see the shooter in the course of this?
No. Nothing. I was trapped. I was stuck in my room downstairs. I got some clothes on and crawled back up, drew the blinds. Blood was coming from his mouth. Not a lot. Just a little. He was still on the floor, slouched. I couldn't be there with him anymore. So I ran down and out of my room, into the hallway, down the stairs. I knew there would be people there. Sylvie was tending the bar. A lot of people were there. The Hardys were at the table in front of the stage. I think the Union box was full. Ruby was there too. They were having such a good time. I sat down and they all welcomed me. I didn't even have to say anything. Ruby knew something was wrong.
Ruby?
Ruby. You know, the leader.
The leader? Of what?
The Hardy Boys. Well, nominally, yes. Ruby's the one they go to when things happen, like things they need taken care of. She's the organizer.
Would you say she is the 8th Hardy Boy?
Why not? Well, Ruby said let's talk upstairs. I showed her the room. I've known these people since December. They know my situation, that I can't leave a paper trail. Ruby was the first one I told. She said she'd take care of this. It's what she does, you know, take care of things. I helped her get the body to the bathroom. We used a belt to pull him up under the shower, to keep him upright.
To produce lividity, matching a hanging?
Yes.
We completely missed the tampering. Looks like you got there in time. What was this, 20 minutes after death?
Oops.
About 20, yes. Ruby explained it would make the blood... You know what he does. Ruby went outside to talk to Titus and the boys. I was just looking at Lely in the bathroom. I had to put his clothes back on. His armor, too. It was tough, but I've seen him take it off and put it on many times. It took Ruby maybe half an hour to come back with Titus. I'd gotten him ready by then. They carried him out. I knew what they were going to do. Make it look like a hanging. Ruby said they would. Ruby said to wait here. She also said I wouldn't see her for a while. That we should lay low or something. So I did. I don't know. I haven't seen her since.
We will need to take this question to the Hardy Boys.
Interesting. Why did this Ruby go through so much trouble to hide something someone else did? Look into this later.
When he was shot? I may have. I don't know. I couldn't hear anything over the glass exploding. What? Why would I put myself through this? Insanity. Get myself cornered like this. He wouldn't have died if it weren't for me. I know that. But I would never hurt him.
All kinds of crazy things happen when drugs are involved. Sweet, sweet drugs. He was a serviceman. He must have had a gun lying around, close to her hand. A military weapon using jacketed ammunition.
What does that mean?
Do drugs make you aggressive?
No. People don't take drugs to kill each other. They take them to feel okay with each other. I thought Ravachol would be more enlightened about this. Especially since you've taken them yourself.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance. It's not one of respect. You may want to add a clever retort to this one.
I'm sorry. I withdraw what I said. I didn't mean to judge anyone. Like what? That's the first thing that went through my head when I heard the glass break. I thought they'd found me. They've killed him to punish me. All last week, I've tried not to talk to anyone or be seen with anyone so they wouldn't be hurt. I've come to understand, however, this is paranoia. What happened didn't have anything to do with me. I just don't know. I don't know anything.
We can't go after Loose Cap. Not yet. There are other, saner leads.
I don't ask you to, Lieutenant. If there's one thing I know, it's that you'll get nothing from there. Because I'm an idiot.
Which is an indicator of truth. Idiot? She's nothing of the sort.
You have to understand, the people around here, no one was making the call, and he kept rotting. And then they picked his clothes off, and that little fucker threw stones at him.
Her jaw is clenched. Her throat moves. It takes all her strength not to cave in and sob. Once. Just one time.
He kept throwing stones at him for 3 days. I could hear the thud. Thud. So I called you. I hope with all my heart it's not the last thing I do in Revachol. Last week, Angus and Titus's brother, I think he's called Tibbs, took care of it.
You should have another look at that window after this. Reconstruct the scene. It's right there. Yes, you see the glass sparkling out of the corner of your eye. She nods, silently. She doesn't even smoke. Just picks up the cold coffee and holds it in her hand. He's thinking, are we done here? Rigorous self-critique. Here it is. Hard facts from the man you are. You once jerked off in the locker room and were caught. You held a young woman by the arm and kept her in your apartment for 20 minutes against her will. That's right. These are not flights of fancy. These are real deeds, Harry, emerging from the darkness of your past. You tried shooting a fleeing suspect in the foot, but hit him in the pelvis, crippling him for life. And, above all, you let life defeat you. All the gifts your parents gave you, all the love and patience of your friends, you drowned in a neurotoxin. You let misery win, and it will keep on winning till you die, or overcome it. What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate political opinions somewhere in Martinez. The air suddenly feels calmer, more transparent in a strangely tender way. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin. But something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience. It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times. Incrementally. Yawn. You'd get there faster with a little speed. History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. Tisk tisk, just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the kingdom of conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren might not. But that's no excuse not to keep working. What rationality? What sang-froid? What a fucking joke. Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed? Then you've never lived through real chaos. Sometimes, in the face of great disaster, defending the status quo is progress. The kingdom is difficult to comprehend and even more difficult to describe, partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The kingdom of conscience is post-capitalist, post-national. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual. Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromising and taking things slow? That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier. As you look back, you think, so love did do him in, after all. If it weren't for her, he would not have been there. The shot would not have connected with his soft palate. She's silent, holding on to her coffee mug. No vapor rises from it. It's cold. Remember this silence. The lady is dangerous. People suffer around her.
Yeah. I'd like to think he didn't love me, or that it was chemically induced and not real. Easier that way. I don't know.
There's a nod. The smallest of nods. You do not know. A wind of needles. Airships flutter in the stratosphere. Who knows? It's getting cold out. You should go.
Officer, it's a fine day for questions.
Who? What? Dear God, you've been lied to. She could have killed her lover and lied to everyone. She's not candid at all. She's smoke and mirrors and will-o-wisps. She probably didn't give you her real name either. Why would she? Arrest her immediately before she further entangles you in her web of lies.
I did. What is this? I called your desk or whatever it is. The numbers are all over town. Call 8-100-2 for emergencies. There was an older woman on the other end. It sounded like she was smoking. She took my complaint. She coughed.
That is the emergencies desk number. Anyone could know that, sire, by looking around and calling the desk. I don't believe a single word she says.
What time did you make the call?
Thursday night. It was late, sometime after 12.
It checks out.
She stands before you, holding her back very straight.
I agree. You wouldn't give us your real name, not when people are after you.
Okay. Okay, it's not. You log your work every week. It's all transmitted to Common, sir. I couldn't just beg you not to enter my name. So I lied. Like I lied before. Like I did at LCSB. I have to lie all the time. I'm so tired of it. No. It's submerged in a plastic buoy on the coast, in the reeds. It just doesn't say Clausia Amandu. It says Anouk Mea Smith.
Falsified documents?
Passport and visa. Given to me by my employer. I can't even use them. My employer probably leaked the name, Mea Smith, to hurt me.
Why would they do that?
I didn't show up to a rendezvous. They don't take that lightly. I didn't show up because I was afraid they'd do something to me. The job was finished. I'm just a liability now. West of the boardwalk, in the reeds, on the coast there. I put it there when I first arrived. Haven't been there since. I'm not sure I could even find it now. It's useless.
The lieutenant makes a note of it.
You're welcome to it. It's in the reeds northwest of here. I am. They can never take my sash and my scepter from me.
Yes, they can, for lying.
It's Katarzyna Alazie.
It's a Grad name, Jimsk or Yugograd in origin. Not Occidental at all. Smells of motor oil, tiger, economic desolation, and rock music infused alcoholism. It also makes Clausia almost an alacronym for Katarzyna Alazia.
It was a sentimental thing. I wanted to be more me here, this time.
A nickname. Who gave you this nickname, Clausia?
A teenage boy. 1,000,000 years ago. My parents were Zhimsk immigrants, but I'm nationalized Oranese. All I remember is Oranje. Alasia is my father's name. I haven't said it aloud in such a long time. That name.
She nods, her back straight, ready for whatever is next.
There may be grounds here, at least for an extended detention.
A little whimper. The young woman hears you. She's looking around.
But I haven't done anything. Anything illegal.
Fucking mind games. Enough. That's right, gang. Stern and merciless now. Stern and merciless as we reel her in. The lieutenant produces a pair of handcuffs.
Please no.
But there's nowhere to go. A 2-story drop to the Plaza Mosaic. If she could, she would have run before. Fragile, unshielded. Her voice is thin and tired.
I think I know who did it. I know who shot Leslie. You know it wasn't me. Why would I do it? I have no motive.
She's silent for a second, as if looking into herself for certainty. Then, in a hushed voice, she says,
Ruby. She has this thing for me ever since I met her and the boys downstairs. She's been pretty frank about what she wants.
What she's saying is sex.
And more. I made the mistake of confiding in her. I told her I was on the run. She started protecting me, It became an unhealthy relationship. When I started spending time with Lely, she told me to end it. Said there would be shit if I didn't. It was not a good meeting. We stopped talking after that, but...
I don't understand. What exactly in your relationship made you think she's romantically interested in you?
She said she's in love with me. She even asked me to run away with her when I told her I'm a fugitive. She started developing notions about our relationship.
And you led her on?
A little. I was flattered, you know? But then I had to let her off, and it was not easy. I came to regret being friendly with her. We maybe kissed, nothing more.
This is just an assumption.
I know what it sounds like. That's why I didn't want to tell you before. But she knew what had happened when I came downstairs. Somehow, she knew Lely was dead. She wasn't surprised at all. When we came up here, she was calm as a stone, too. She cleaned it all up like she had a plan.
This is a familiar theory. You had it too, remember? Could it be that Ruby was covering up after herself? The lynching?
She came over one night, drunk, said she'd turn my life into a living hell. I've been threatened before, so I can tell when someone knows how to do it. And she's a pro. She must be. To keep the Hardys in line. I tried severing ties with her after that. I thought it had worked, but...
Some of that fear is still with her. She exhales sharply. What are you talking about? She's afraid you'll arrest her.
You said there was a secret route there, right? She could have come up through there, then taken this shot, right here, where I stand. It was too dark outside. I wouldn't have seen her.
Then slipped back downstairs without anyone noticing. That is possible.
Interesting theory. Did she know that door exists? Had you been out there with her?
Yes. She's been up here many times. She used to come to drink on the roof when, The peephole. My bed is right next to... She would have seen us.
You mean to suggest she made it?
No. No. Why would she do that to herself? No, I just remembered you told me about it, and...
She's not really sure. It was right above the bed. She could have seen all sorts of things from there. Okay, and what? Arrest the liar now. Why? She told us some pretty interesting things there. She's stuck here. She's already in prison. Look around. She's only trying to help you. Her. Stop letting her distract you.
Still? After all this, sir, please. It's a shitty world, and I know I'm shitty too. I know. But I don't deserve to be sent to the moral intern and ground into paste just because I disturbed the sanctity of accounting. That's some multinational...
She's gearing up for a last stand. This is it.
I don't know. To spend my days with smoke, drink and dance, wallowing in shit. Just like everyone else. You have those station calls, right? Where I have to show up at the station or I'll become a fugitive. You can write me one. You don't have to take me in right now. I promise I won't go out. I know you can do that. Just let me come in on my own. In 2 months, or maybe even 1 month. That's all I need.
You do have the form.
By God, she's playing him too. Like a fiddle, sire. Who would have known?
Everything could change. This city, the extradition rules, the people after me could be in jail. Or maybe Revachol. Maybe Revachol could be free. I could be tried in a free Revachol, An independent state that doesn't hand its detainees over to the moral intern.
A free Revachol. There is a low, distant rumble on the motor tracks. A great machine shaking the pillars down south. Electricity runs up your spine.
I find that hard to believe, miss.
It's coming.
Don't. The world can change. It has changed before.
That's not the answer she was hoping for. Thought that you were some kind of patriot or communard, did she? She looks at you in silence, her face filled with fear, lips parted. Wait. If you arrest her, Kim will have to transport her. You'd be without your partner for the rest of the day. Shut up. He's making a decision, and it's his to make.
I will escort you to the motor carriage outside, miss.
With a muffled whimper, she extends her wrists. They're white, bony, exposed below the rolled-up sleeves of her jumpsuit. Waiting for your teeth and talons to cut into.
This won't be necessary. I will take you to Station 57 myself and slow the extradition process as much as I can. It may be possible to stall it indefinitely, but you will be safer there for the purposes of this investigation. I can do this on my own. She's not an immediate flight risk. See you tomorrow morning, officer. Downstairs, at the Whirling in Rags. Or outside your shack.
This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass. This window is pristine on the inside. Golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed. A two-hearted spider. Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth. A ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain, ending him. From the roof outside, location A prime. The glass fractures around the bullet hole. Shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back. The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. death comes faster than the realization. The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions, all on the roof at first. The shot could have come from any of them. This is composite location A prime, most likely of the origin points. There could have been. Then the rain and slush and wind washed it away. This was more than a week ago. 72%, with an antique weapon that fires military-grade ammunition, a Belmargrave rifle, for example. This is a good short distance, but not too short. The perpetrator aimed with their back against the railing, or possibly kneeling for precision. This would explain why it only took them one shot. The lights were on in here. Outside it was dark. It was like shooting fish in an aquarium, a well-lit aquarium. The victim opened his mouth to let the bullet in. Neither of them would have seen anything outside, in the darkness, too busy with their own bodies. None that you've found thus far, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. Point X would contradict the woman's testimony, rendering the entire proposition void. These figures would be wiped out, detective. That's a 28%, yes. In this model, the shot could have come from a greater distance. Nothing excludes the possibility. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinet? According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. Let's call them B prime. B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet, detective. There may be smaller points in between, but those are too fine to zoom in on. 700 meters away. The likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to take wind direction into account. 1.2 kilometers away, the least likely of these positions, let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it. Possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched. 1 kilometer away, a point beyond the docks, on an islet in the bay. The fort is ruined, but the perpetrator may have found a stable spot on the beaches surrounding it, where the concrete crumbles into the sea, as you saw in the coin-operated viewer. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain 10 and 33A. The angle would have been extreme, and access to the islets is questionable. It is possible that it came from B prime, the boardwalk, B double prime, Land's End, or B triple prime, the islet. You can't know for sure until you investigate those locations. The lieutenant would probably agree that, in this situation, it's best to be thorough. This medicine cabinet is